I thought it was nice on her part and kind of goes back to the situation with Jukebox and Lou, where here we see it that after Marvin speaks to RAQ, that she kind of put her, or was willing to put her and Lou's differences aside, at least for the time being, to show up at the club and show him support. But unfortunately, just as she's dressed and getting ready to head to the club, that, the feds show up on her doorstep with some questions for her. Now, granted that she wasn't under arrest or anything like that, I think the better call would have been to just go on ahead. And granted, this is like fiction, so, it's what we wish could have happened. I think the better thing to do would have been to go on to the club and then go in for questioning afterwards, right? So it's like you take care of both things. But instead, she did the responsible thing, arguably, and went in to speak to the feds. Like I said, like I said it in previous episodes, I think RAQ throwing all of this cash around with no seemingly verifiable source of income is going to lead to the feds digging deeper. I think she's been fortunate so far, up until about the first season, in that she was still flying under the radar. The shooting at the end of, rather not the shooting, but the shootouts at the end of the second season has brought a lot of unwanted attention, and her flying under the radar has saved her from police scrutiny. But now, with the feds present and them kind of digging about to see what, if anything, they can find, I think it's just going to lead to more questions. And as far as we've seen, RAQ doesn't have a job, right? There's nothing that RAQ does that we've seen that can explain how she supports herself or where it is that she's getting all of this money from to buy into this record label, to buy this strip of stores, to buy this house. Everything that she's doing is cash. And it's like, fine, you can launder the money, but yet still the question is, where did it initially start from? So it's like she's buying into these, putting dirty money into these legitimate businesses, but the question still has to be asked, where are you getting the original investment from? Where did the dirty money come from? Where did you find the money from to invest into this record label? Fine, she gets taken in for questions. She's smart enough to call her lawyer. They ask questions and she says that, they asked her about her dealings with Crown and how it is that she came to be like the majority owner of the record label. And she explains that, she did it to support her brother. And the opportunity came up for her to buy larger stakes in the company. And it's like, as is pointed out, is that you have to look at it. You have the dealings with her and Crown. Well, remember initially, Lou muscled Crown into giving him a 50-50 stake in the company, right? Or whatever the ownership stake was. And if I'm not mistaken, I think it was the same lawyer that was present there. So, okay. So Lou buys in, let's say, at 50%. That's 50% to him, 50% to Crown. From there, we know that Cartier bought into the label as well, right? I think he took a portion of Lou's stake, which put him in at 25%. So 25% to Lou, 25% to Cartier, and then seemingly Crown still had his remaining 50%. Shortly thereafter, or at some point during this exchange, RAQ became a partner in the record label. It's unclear, or at least I don't remember how much her stake was while Crown was around. But let's say that she split 50-50 with him, right? Okay, so now that's 4 people into the label where each one of them has a quarter, right? Just to keep things easy to understand. But now, Crown pops up dead. Cartier would seemingly have popped up dead as well because they shot him in his elevator. It's not like they dumped his body anywhere. Remember that when Crown died, his shares went to RAQ. So that's now 50%. It's unclear if she has just the 50% or somehow did Cartier's portion then go to her? Did Lou's portion go to her? But even let's just say for argument's sake that it was just Crown's portion of the label that went to RAQ, that means that now at minimum she has like 50% of the company. Whereas Lou has a quarter, Cartier had a quarter, Cartier's now dead. It looks fishy, right? Because you have 4 partners in the business where 3 of them came in within a short space of time. 2 of those partners end up dead. And it's not like, again, not like they tripped down the steps or choked on a peanut or a pretzel, died in a car accident or something like that. Those 2 partners were definitely murdered in a short span of time. And here it is that you have these 2 siblings who are now snapping back up or have majority control of the company. Questions would be asked, right? How does that happen? It's not just a coincidence. But at the start of this season, Lou mentioned that RAQ was selling the house, which seemingly was their childhood home. So we can say, okay, maybe she was taking some of the proceeds from that and putting it towards something else, right? Just for argument's sake. So let's say that explains where she got some of the money from for, buying this property. Or let's say that her excuse is that she took that money and put it into the purchase of this house or something like that. It just seems like there's still, like I said, that if the feds dig deep enough into RAQ and her financial dealings, things aren't matching up there, right? It's just going to lead to more questions. And as we see here, I think that's just like the opening shot, them taking like a week push at her to see what information, if any, they could get. And it's like, fine, they didn't get anything here, but I think that's just the beginning of it, right? They're going to continue digging. And it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out, because now you have another front opening up in this seeming war, right? Where you have them and their family issues at home, RAQ and Kanan, RAQ and her brothers, between the brothers, them and their mom and whatnot. So the family dealings. You have the business on the street because she still faces this threat, still unbeknownst to her, from Ronnie. And as we see at the end of the episode, that Unique is not there anymore to protect her, right? Or at least to run interference. And then it's like, you now have this third front that's opened up. So thus far, you've had her family, you've had the streets. Now you have the feds, right? Where Howard was there and he was a nuisance, but for the most part, at least for a while now, hasn't really been a threat to her. But you now have these local cops that are trying to shake her down, and you then have the feds that are digging around in her business as well. And so it's like, you might not want to get too comfortable, man. You might want to start getting your affairs in order, because this is just seeming like it's going to get worse from here. Just not really looking too good for our girl RAQ. She seems like she's just going to have far more problems before, and that's if things get better for her.
Thanks for tuning in. To ensure you don't miss any episodes, subscribe to the channel, click the notification bell, go ahead and click the thumbs up button if you like what you saw, and go ahead and share it on social media.